said, I work for an international telecommunication company, and of course we are very proud of our products and services when we have launched them successfully. But of course, we have to admit that various products and services have already failed completely. And if we are lucky, we at least understand after launch why. Of course, we do our homeworks and we conduct market research, customer analysis, and focus groups in order to understand the customer needs. But how often do these kind of information leave room for interpretation? And how often do we really talk to the customer in his environment? And how often do we only ask for customer feedback very late in the process, sometimes only after launch? But if we have invested already a lot of time, money, and energy, then we tend to ignore especially critical customer feedback rather than admitting our own mistakes. So let me highlight another situation which is quite typical, especially in big organizations. Sometimes line managers face business challenge that ask for skills who are not available in their own teams. So they have the choice. Either they work the learning curve slowly, or they ask for and hire external support, like consultants. What they're not used to do is to assessing the knowledge of the entire company, although I would say, especially in big organizations, there's rarely a problem that could not be solved internally. So 2 situations and 2 good reasons to consider another approach, another way of working, a transformational approach. And we did so for the following business challenge. Our systems integrator in South Africa intends to enter the prosperous Kenyan market with a telemedicine solution that helps to reduce mother and child mortality, which is a key subject in Kenya, of course. But how should these solutions look like? Who are the potential partners to cooperate with? And what does the health market in Kenya really need? And finally, how to differentiate from competitors in a market where already about 300 health projects have been launched and have largely failed. So we started with 3 assumptions. First, we will not win on technology alone. So this is kind of cultural mind shift in a technology company. But you won't believe how often we have discussed internally that we first have to understand the customer perspective without having already a solution, technical solution in our minds, and then come up with a technical solution, rather than the other way around. Second, crowdsourcing within the company has the as yet untapped potential for innovative solutions. In order to tap this potential, we invited all our employees worldwide to apply for a so-called co-working team that works on that challenge for the period of 2 times 2 weeks. The only prerequisite was that they ask their line managers for approval, and of course that they show us their motivation, their experience, and their skills. So out of all applicants, we compiled a multidisciplinary and international team of 8 employees, and all other applicants and whoever was interested, we asked to support that team on a virtual basis via our internal social network. Third assumption, developing customer-centric solutions is not a question of time, but of appropriate working methods. Typically, it could take 1 to 2 years in order to launch a new product. So what can we make within only 4 weeks? To be honest, that was the most critical part here. But we doubted that employees would have been released from their original jobs for more than 4 weeks, so that time limit was given. And in order to enable the team best, we decided to facilitate them with the agile working method, design thinking, as it emphasizes customer centricity as well as time efficiency. So how did we proceed? Customer centricity means, first of all, to start with the customer. In our case, that means that the co-working team meets and visits different representatives of the various health levels of the Kenyan health system. So they talk to government, they talk to NGOs. They went in big hospitals, visited big hospitals, but also medical stations in slums and rural areas, and talked there to doctors, nurses, community health workers, and of course, mothers and pregnant women. So it was really a great experience. The stakeholders and the people we met there were so open and helped us to get all needed information. They even handed us over sometimes from one person to another, only to provide us with more information and with additional views. So really a great experience. Thus, we have learned a lot. I would like to give you an example. The Kenyan government has just recently decided that mothers could give birth in hospitals for free. Would that release the situation already? We have quickly learned that mothers are not always able to go to hospitals due to long distances involved or due to safety reasons, especially at night. But more importantly, mothers are often not willing to go to hospitals. They prefer giving birth at home with the support of the community health workers, women who work on a voluntary basis and who may be experienced but not really trained. But the advantage for the mother is she knows that woman as she's from her community, and therefore she trusts her. Unlike in hospitals, especially in overcrowded hospitals, where mothers often feel like anonymous transaction. So we learned that community health workers, as you can see them here, play a major role in the Kenyan health system. Equipped with such information, further observations, and empathy, the team has developed an initial set of potential solutions, more or less within one day. And only the next day, they had to discuss these solutions already with the stakeholders we met in Kenya. And that was, first of all, a terrible idea, because presenting high-level, first-level solutions without having them analyzed 200% and without having discussed them in detail internally, that was really a cultural change. But it worked. Much better than expected. And we've learned two things. First of all, the customers won't shoot at us only for a bad idea. Just the contrary. They gave us very valuable feedback, even if they told us why an idea won't work. But better to understand that now than months later. And second, being so open with our ideas and respecting the customer feedback here created very trusting relationships. And that helped us on our way forward and for further testings. So finally, we hold in our hands now a portfolio of innovative solution and business models. So like, only to give you an example, but like biofeedback solutions on a low-cost wearable devices that especially could be handled by community health workers, but also easily to be handled by mothers. Or another example, patient-reported outcomes to monitor the individual health and individual condition of pregnant women in a very pragmatic way and link them to doctors and community health workers or nurses if needed. So it's kind of early warning system. So, of course, we won't launch such solutions on our own. We need to partner with stakeholders like government, like hospitals or NGOs. And here comes the most unexpected results. Being in Kenya with a team of 8 experts, very passionate people, and talking to the stakeholders and working together with them in a way we did, in a very agile way, has created a significant level of awareness there. And in a country where trusting relationships are more important than pragmatic approaches, the doors went wide open to our approach. And we got firm invitations to support with existing health projects there, or to partner with stakeholders who even didn't know us only 4 weeks ago. And finally, the project resulted in passion. The co-working team didn't really stop working. They still, even after the official end of the co-working phase, they still support the African responsible managers with their expertise, their knowledge, and their networks in order to help the implementation and support the implementation of the first solutions. And they do that voluntarily. So, in addition to their original jobs. So obviously, listening to the customer, and I mean really listening to the customer, creates empathy, and empathy creates passion for innovative and customer-centric solutions. Could we expect more? So thank you.